This is what you want to do if you don't want to stand behind it.
Is this going on YouTube? How did you know?
Okay. Watch it. Pull. Pull. Hi. So I am going to show you how I make my own launching platform. You will see many people on YouTube making frames, and usually they'll have a tube with the end cut off, and you don't want to catch your wing on this 90 degrees bend and everything else. But you see, that's just overcomplicating things. And you'll see that there's a 20mm UPVC conduit and a 25mm. Okay, one is obviously thicker than the other. Now, the reason I'm showing you the difference is that you may want to use maybe the thicker or even sturdier 25mm tube. And that's what we have in the UK. I don't off the hand know what the American sizes are. I think it's 1/2 inch and the other one is 3/4. I'm not sure. Maybe if you're an American electrician and you're watching this, give me the thumbs up and make a comment. Tell me, because I used to know these things, but I can't remember now. I do have a copy of the American regs somewhere, from memory. I think it's yellow, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why I have that either. But anyway, what we have here is a 90 degrees bend in the 20mm tube. So when your aircraft is going off the end of the tube, you've got this lovely round 90 degrees bend here, and there's no need to make lots of different pieces. You just do it all in one piece. The whole frame, well, not the whole frame, but the whole one half of the frame, both halves of the frame could be made in one piece. So I'm now going to show you how we do that. And just for reference, we call this here the back of bend. Okay, so if you want to make a measurement, you can either the back of bend, or you can do it from this point here down. But the easy cheat is to take a rough measurement of what you need, and then when you've got it all bent and everything else, you just shorten it to the length that you want. Therefore, it takes out a lot of mathematics, to be quite honest with you. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, to do that, let's just turn you around here, if I may. Okay, I'm going to slide this along here. Okay, and what you'll have is a spring. This is a 20mm spring, and in the United Kingdom these will cost you roughly about £8. It's quite a good investment because it's a tool you won't use very often if you're not an electrician. But one day you think, oh, where's that spring gone? It's about, I don't know, 2 foot long, and you bend it like this. And what you do is you get some electrical, what called singles, and you have to tie this on quite firmly on the end there, so that you can pull the spring out. Because obviously, if you put it into a bend, it's under tension. You need to be able to pull the spring out. It's better to use the more expensive type of UPVC, because the cheap stuff, when you bend it, let's see if I can just get this around here without knocking everything over. What you tend to find, the cheaper stuff, you'll get kinks in it here, and it looks really, really horrible. Yeah, so this will stretch and this will kink. Now the other thing is, when we're on site doing this thing, you've got your spring in here and you've marked it. What you want to do is heat this up. And what we do on site, we just rub it like this, and you'll be surprised the friction will actually warm it up quite quickly. So it allows this part here to stretch and come out okay, but I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use a heat gun because I'm in my workshop, and I don't want to be on video rubbing things and stuff like that. So I put the spring in like that, and of course I know how deep it's got to go because I put a little kink in into the wire there, so I know where to stop there. So now I know it's going to come up to the mark. Now these marks are just marks I've made for other things, but where the back of bend is here, so I know that where I've kinked that cable there, the middle of that spring is now there in the middle of the tube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm that up. So here's the thing, right now, here's my heat gun. Okay, I'm going to plug that in. Okay, and this is probably, for most people who are not used to doing these sort of things, it's probably the most difficult part. Now obviously I don't want to heat up my cable or anything, but just put the heat gun on and just heat it up evenly. Doesn't take too long. Yeah, it's a little bit cool. I've had to heat up a bit. I don't advise putting this on your hand. There you go. It's getting warm now. This gun doesn't get really hot straight away. You have to let the air flow as you do it, and that's going to be quite warm already. Okay, and turn that off. Now that will retain the heat for a short while, and I'll just put you over here like this because I now have to put that across my knee. Okay, and I haven't done this for a long while, and I need to get that as level as I can, and I just put that there across my knee, bend it like that, and then so I'm trying to see where the other end is in case I'm knocking things over. Okay, and a little bit more perhaps. Of course, when you're on site, you haven't got a heat gun, you're just rubbing it with your hand, and I'm just bending it like that. Okay. You've got to go a little bit more than 90 because it springs back. And there is a 90 degrees bend. Okay, now I have to make that level with the other side, so I will twist it slightly. And it should, no, it's not quite there. Oh, I'll take that out in a little bit. So there's your bend. So you take your spring out using this, pull it, out comes your spring. And you know when you're doing it properly because there'll be no kink in your spring when you take it out. Okay, so that is a crash course on how to put a 90 degrees bend in your UPVC tubing. And now when your airplane takes off, there's nothing there to catch on either end. Okay, so I will go into the rest of the building of the stand in just a moment, and I'm thanking the gods that I've been wielding this around my workshop without knocking anything over, like a tin of dope or a glass bottle or something, which you were probably all hoping for. Anyway, there you go. That's how you put a bend in. So if you're making a frame, forget all these weird or wonderful things you're watching on YouTube about making these things. The simplest way is always the best way, and if you know how to do it, somebody's shown you how to do it. This is not difficult. Apprentices day one do this, apart from filing things down. So there you go. That's how you put a bend into a 90 degrees shape and make your frame, and all you need is a tool that costs £8. That's it. Oh, you could, the other way of doing it is actually you can fill one end, yeah, with sand. Fill that with sand, okay, so it fills up to about this point here, okay, and then heat it up and then put it over your knee. Sand will do that as well if you're really stuck and you can't get one of these springs, or you don't want to pay out the money for a tool that you're going to use once. So yeah, you can fill this full of sand as well. Stops it from cracking and breaking and stuff, as long as you've got something in there. But don't forget, you've got to get the sand out again, so you know, tip it up and get it out. Bit messy. I prefer to use the spring. So there's one end and there's the other end, and we'll get on with it soon.
Now that's cool.